What sucks most about having cancer? Well, it's an easy answer. Everything. Case closed, video over. Pretty sure that's a record. I'm also pretty sure it's a joke. But I guess we'll find out together. Now, all joking aside, there's a lot of things that suck about cancer, as you probably expect. But there's a few things that stand out among the others as the most difficult things when it comes to having cancer. One of those is obviously being sick all the time. If it's not one thing, it's another. And most of the time, it never ends. Whenever something ends, it gets replaced by something else. So you never have that period of rest where you can start to recover. Your body's always being exhausted, not only fighting the disease, but also just dealing with all the side effects of not only the disease, but the treatments and the medication and everything else. So it's like, oh, well, when it's not a headache, then, you're in pain. When you're not in pain, then you're coughing. When you're not coughing, you have trouble breathing. When you don't have trouble breathing, you're throwing up. When you're not throwing up, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on like that. And it just never ends. Sometimes it's one thing at a time, sometimes it's two. Every once in a while, it's been three from my experience. No matter what, it sucks. At this point, it's been almost a year since I haven't felt good for more than like a day or a couple hours. And that just takes its toll on the body. When you don't get a chance to recover properly, to recover fully, you just never get to recover, to recuperate completely. And as a result of that, you either remain at the same state of exhaustion all the time, or it kind of compounds, and then you get more and more exhausted as it goes along. And simple things like taking care of yourself, eating, doing exercise, even if it's not that frequently or that intensely, it's like small things like that become very, very difficult. Another big thing when it comes to having cancer is just not being able to do all those things that you loved to do in the past. I used to love being outside, being in nature, going swimming, doing, sports, biking, skiing, snowboarding, rollerblading, skating, whatever. I just love being active. And now I'm not able to do that anymore. And it's very frustrating. It sucks. I literally feel like a shell of myself. And, if you've been watching for a while, you've seen the decline. You know what I'm talking about. And it's just, that's the thing. It's a very big part of it. Because not only do you lose yourself through all this never-ending exhaustion, because if you've ever been so tired that your brain barely functions, you don't have the energy to be yourself. You barely have the energy to remain alive. And then on top of that, it's like you lose everything that you love to do. Well, it's like, what's the point of living anymore? And that's why I think my wife has been such an important role in this entire journey, just because she's the only thing at this point that's keeping me going, because I have no other motivation. Staying alive for myself is not a motivation anymore, because I don't feel like myself anymore. Same, like I can't do it for my family or my friends either. I just don't have the energy. The only person I have the willpower to do it for is my wife. And that's why I'm going to see her, because no matter what ends up happening, I much prefer being there with her than being here. And yeah, it's difficult because I enjoy challenging myself. I'm a person who likes pushing my limits, who like expanding my comfort zone, who likes to try new things. And this is definitely the most ultimate challenge I've ever experienced. But in the past, all my challenges have been, couple hours, couple days, maybe a couple weeks max. This has been, well, almost 2 years, but it's like since I haven't had a break and since I've kind of really began that decline, it's been nearly a year. And at this point, it's not that I don't know who I am. Like, yes, I'm still myself, but I'm just a shadow of myself. I don't feel like the person that I used to be. Like, if you go back a couple of years back when this was a travel vlog, and I was sharing stories about my travels and everything that I was doing, and it's like, you can see that I was different back then. Obviously, everything I've been through over the last 2 years has been very intense. It is bound to change me. But deep down, you kind of always remain the same person. It's very rare that someone will radically change the way that they are. And yeah, I just feel like I'm still myself. I'm just so little of myself at this point that it's like I don't really know who I am in a way, And I guess that's the whole point of this, to discover who I really am deep down. But it's difficult and it's painful and it sucks and there are good days and there are better days and there are worse days. And it just seems like for nearly a year now, it's been about 99% bad days and about 1% better days. So definitely not pleasant. So yeah, kind of wanted to take the time to summarize everything because I've talked about everything that I just discussed in past videos, but it was more like bits and snippets here and there. I never really took the time to sit down and explain everything in detail. Like, this is what it feels like to have cancer. It sucks. And in my situation, I wouldn't say it's necessarily worse. It's just slightly different because a lot of people that have cancer look like they have cancer. They look like they're dying. They look like they're super sick. And for me, that hasn't done that until recently. And even now, when I walk down the street, people don't give me like glances, like, like you can tell when someone knows you have cancer by the way they act around you. And it's like most people, sorry, I had something there. Most people don't, wait, what was I saying? Anyway, yeah, most people like act differently around you when you have cancer. And I haven't really noticed that. And, there's a reason why all those haters are like, hey, you're a scammer, you're a fake, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, because I look much better than a lot of other patients at my stage. Like, much, much better. Probably because this type of cancer affects young people. I was always healthy. I was always, physically active and stuff like that. So that definitely helped. But yeah, it's just, I think this whole situation has been, well, rather hasn't been aided by the fact that I've looked better than I felt, because people assume like, oh, it's not that bad. He's managing well given the situation. But it's like, if they could feel how I felt inside, and it's not that intense. It's not like every hour of every day is torture and it sucks. It's just the never-ending nature of it. It's like someone pricks you with a needle. Yeah, okay, it hurts a bit. Not the end of the world. If someone continuously pricks you with a needle for a year, yeah, that gets exhausting and frustrating and tiring and painful. That's just the way it functions. And it's the same thing with cancer. Even though I looked for most of, this journey relatively normal, and some people would argue I look normal, just really thin. But yeah, it hasn't been easy. Like having to also kind of deal with how people react to you having cancer. There's a big difference between how you react to having cancer and how the people around you react. So anyway, that's kind of an overview of what it's like to have cancer, or at least advanced stage of cancer. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of my YouTube family. I love you all very much. And now the moment of truth. Will I miss the button?